if you clicked on this video, it's probably because you struggle with some form of consistency, like I think everyone does in one way or another. The reason why I wanted to make this video more than anything is because I've had a couple of points recently where that's definitely been tested. And I kind of just wanted to share those because it kind of sucks when you get into a rut sometimes and it can be difficult to get yourselves out of them. And I really do think that the one thing that we can always hold ourselves to is the standards that we set for ourselves. So if we're able to sit down, be honest with ourselves about what our standards are, and stay consistent, even if it's at a level that may not be like what peak performance looks like in our minds in any area of our lives, I think that's something that we can all definitely learn from and grow from to just become better people. I'm just gonna riff on this. I don't really have anything super laid out, but I wanted to kind of share the initial story that kind of prompted me wanting to record this in the first place, which was actually going to be me in the gym. Which, again, I know consistency in the gym and stuff like that is probably like super overplayed. There's probably 10 million videos about this, but this is a story that resonated with me, and I just want to share it. So, first things first, I focus on climbing a lot. So I do weightlifting and climbing. And I've been climbing for about 4 years now, and I've definitely had periods where I've stagnated in the past, and those areas are freaking rough. Like, you feel like that you're just not able to complete any route or project that you want to be working on, and it can honestly be, it can be demoralizing at times, very truthfully. It can be pretty rough because you're in there and you're with all your buddies who you've been working on projects with for however long, or working on achieving certain goals, stuff like that. And you just really feel like you're just plateauing and you just can't break past these certain barriers. At least for myself, what I found in that moment too, because it was like probably 2 weeks consistently where I just like wasn't showing up in the degree that I was hoping for. And, you know, I ended up just like sitting down actually with one of the people that worked there, funnily enough. And I was like, yeah, like I feel like I've just been sucking recently, like very much so. And she's like, oh, do you feel like you're maybe hitting a plateau? I'm like, that could totally be real. And then she's like, well, it's the times like these where you kind of get it's kind of like twofold. It's like you get to first up, like get the win of breaking past that plateau, which is already something fantastic to be able to work towards. But then on top of that as well, it's the consistency in these moments that matter the very most. It's not the parts where things are going well, so you're celebrating and being all happy all the time. It's the points that when you're sitting down in the tough points and you just struggle through it because you know you have to be able to make progress in the goal that you want to hit or achieve or whatever. So that's where a lot of this actually spawned from. I was really having some rough days in the gym, but this can expand to like so many other areas as well too. Like I can even say from personal experience too, like when it comes to work, right? I think everyone can, or even school, I think everyone can kind of deal with there being some sort of project or some sort of assignment or a test or whatever that may be that just feels like it's completely stopping you in your tracks from everything else that's going on in your life. And I really do think that in moments like that, again, it's not the points where you're able to kind of coast by and chill out where you're like, you know what, hey, let's just take it easy and because everything's going well. That's not the point where you can sit down and be like, hey, let's just take it easy. That's the point where you almost need to double down and just continuously make constant steps towards that goal that you want to have. I really do think that that's like so important because if right when you hit the peak, after like all the hard work that you did, you hit that peak and you're like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Now you start coasting. And then it's no shocker that when you get to that point that you start plateauing a bit. When you get to that amazing, great goal that you're working towards, you have to keep going at it. You can't just like stop and fall off. Obviously, things will stop you in your life. And I'm not saying that you have to go and like crank it to 110 on every facet of your life. I think that could probably be self-destructive in some ways. But what I am getting at is that I really do think that if at least you are at a bare minimum showing up to do the things that you need to do, even if it is at like a lower level. So let's give the example of, there's actually this dude I watched on Instagram. I think his handle's like Crumma Honey. I'll like add it in the description so you guys can see it. And he's this dude who he runs every single morning, like no matter what, and has been for like, I don't know how long now. I think it's been like years on end or something. Like he runs a mile every single morning, no breaks whatsoever. And his whole thing is that you don't fall like you fall to your standards, not to your expectations or like your goals. So if his standard is like, hey, every single morning I have to wake up and run no matter how I feel, no matter like what's going on, then that's going to happen. It's like the idea of most people, I would say, before they go to bed, they have to brush their teeth. That is a standard that cannot be broken, because if so, that's like almost like an attack at your character. So I think that's a great example of figuring out what that standard is for yourself. So say if it's in the gym, if it's even just showing up and just going on the treadmill for 5 minutes. I hate the treadmill personally, but even if you were just to show up and do the thing, then I think that is way more valuable than just saying, nah, I'm gonna pass. Because once that momentum breaks, it's going to be so much harder to get back on track and to get out of that rut that you were previously in. I've been talking for about 6 minutes now, so I really do hope that some of this is at least resonating with you guys, because I can say wholeheartedly that there have been plenty of times where these ruts occur, and I think that the number one thing that you can do, even now with making videos like I'm doing right now, like this is something that is definitely like not the easiest thing for me to do, but I woke up this morning and I'm like, I need to record this video today. And that was the standard that I needed to set for myself. Was the standard is I'm going to record the video. That was it, right? Doesn't need to be perfect, doesn't need to be a masterpiece, but we're here and we're doing the thing, and I think that's what matters the most. So if you guys can go out and do that and figure out what that standard is for yourself, I'll be proud of you, even though I don't know you. But if you want to tell me what that is, please feel free to tell me. I would love to hear what you guys are possibly, what those ruts are for you, or how you're trying to stay consistent in any area. Again, this doesn't just apply to fitness. Like in my case, it could apply to work with projects or school or even relationships, or even something as simple as reading or journaling. I'm no self-improvement master, but I do think that as long as we're working on improving just like small things of ourselves, those compounding effects can be really sick. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. I think I've said enough. I know I mentioned a Shark Tank video in my last video. I don't know when that's going to come out, but I really do want to make it. I had some buddies that also expressed some interest in helping me out with that video, so we'll see how that pans out. But for now, thank you guys. Please share if you got anything in the comments. I'd love to hear what possible consistency trials you were going through. We'd love to hear what's going on. So seriously, please share below and take it easy.